we have our next two matches in the round robin teams category of the Phoenix Festival Tournament. Today we will be going over matches 3 and 4. Use the link in the description below to go and vote for who you think would end up winning, and give your reason as to why, whether it's overall experience, team cohesion, semblance advantages, weapon advantages, how you think characters would pair off against each other in battle. As with team battles, they could go a number of different ways. Generally though, there is something that you could point to for a certain team winning out over another, though I would love to see different scenarios on how these matches would play out. And our first match of the day is two teams from the original Vital Festival tournament that we got to see in Volume 3, though these two teams did not face off against each other. We have Team RWBY versus Team Sun in the Geyser and Savannah biome. Now, unfortunately, the Geyser biome is one that consists of water, and Neptune wouldn't be very happy about that, though if he's able to get over that, use his semblance of water attraction, that could play a decent role in this battle. The rest of Team Sun, we did get a bit of an expansion on in Before the Dawn. We have, of course, Sun Wukong and his semblance of clone creation. He can create numerous clones of himself. Semblance is actually called via Sun, but still, he can create numerous clones of himself that can fight alongside him, though it is fairly draining on his aura. We did get Scarlet's semblance as well, that is gliding. If he's gliding through the air, he can make sure that he lands softly no matter what distance he is falling from. Sage, unfortunately, he's still just the powerhouse of Team Sun, a very strong dude wielding his broadsword, but we don't know what his semblance is. Team RWBY, on the other hand, is a team that just got training from the ASOPs and have been training quite hard since the fall of Beacon Academy. Team Sun, on the other hand, has been quite disorganized since the fall of Beacon Academy, what with Sun taking off and the members of Team Sun not really trusting Sun himself. So there is a bit of cohesion difference between these two teams, with RWBY using her speed in Petal Burst, Weiss using her summoning and her glyphs, Blake with her clones, and Yang with her power-up abilities. I think Team RWBY just has the advantage overall in this fight. It would be interesting to see how it would play out, as Weiss, she would likely be able to get time to summon her Armagigas thanks to the support of the rest of her team, and Sun could use his clones to create a number advantage on a Team Sun side as well. Now, RWBY, being the faster of pretty much everyone in that fight, using her semblance of Petal Burst, would be able to gain a fairly decent advantage, though when it came to RWBY versus Sun, an exhibition match that did happen previously before the Phoenix Festival Tournament, RWBY did win out over Sun, though I thought that Sun would have an advantage over RWBY, simply because of the speed of his gunchucks, Ruyi Bang and Jingu Bang, and then his semblance of via Sun being able to create the clones, he would be able to overwhelm RWBY. But with her skill that she's trained from the ASOPs, then she would probably be able to overwhelm Sun. At least that was the verdict of the majority vote. When it came to how the teams would actually pair off against one another, I see Yang pairing off against Sage, Blake pairing off against Scarlet, and then Weiss pairing off against Neptune. As well, that kind of seems to be the case, as was in Volume 2. And she also has a grudge against Neptune for hitting on Team Indigo, so that kind of fits as well. If Neptune was able to get over his fear of water and water attraction, Weiss would just be able to freeze any water that came close, so unfortunately Neptune's semblance wouldn't really play much of a factor, plus I don't think he would go near the Geyser biome anyways, and probably stick to the Savannah, which Weiss would chase him onto, and just with her and her Armagigas would be able to overpower Neptune fairly easily. Sun, as I said, would already lose out against RWBY. Yang against Sage would be a very cool fight to see, Yang using her gauntlets and metal arm to block a giant sword that's on the same level as Fulcrum, Yatsuhashi's blade, so that would be fun to see. But as Yang took more damage, she would build up power and be able to knock Sage out, or at least break his aura. And then Scarlet versus Blake. Blake just has more skill and versatility using her weapon, her Gamble Shroud, versus Scarlet and his Hook and Darling. His semblance of gliding wouldn't really play much of a factor, so I think Team RWBY, just in the experience that they've gained with the ASOPs, would win out over Team Sun, though Sun would still give them a little bit of run for their money. And then our second match of the day is Team Ashberry, that is Ilya Amatola, Sienna Khan, Gira, and Kali Belladonna, versus Team Esprit, that is Clover Ebby, Winter Schnee, Penny Polendina, and James Ironwood. And they are fighting in the anti-gravity and ice biomes. And the ice biome is definitely home turf for the team that it calls Atlas home. So Team Esprit has a bit of environmental advantage. Though Team Ashbury is definitely no pushover, with Ilya, Sienna, Gira, and Kali. Now, unfortunately, Kali is the weakest member of Team Ashbury, but that doesn't mean she won't be able to put up much of a fight. I could see Ilya actually being able to hold her own against Clover for a small portion of time. They have very similar weapons, though Clover's good fortune would easily give him the edge over Ilya. But with Clover, if the fishing line that he has in Kingfisher is made of metal, Ilya, with her electric whip, would be able to electrify that, probably be able to disarm Clover at some point if he's not expecting it, though Clover could get close combat, be able to overwhelm Ilya, disarm her, and Clover would win out against Ilya if that is the way it paired out, but Ilya would be able to give him a few surprises here and there. If Gira faced off against Ironwood, for example, I think Gira would be able to match him. The bullets he might be able to block just with his aura alone, or dodge out of the way. Gira isn't necessarily a slow fighter, he's not particularly fast either, but with the brawn that he has, he would be able to match Ironwood in strength, I think, no problem. Possibly even be able to overpower Ironwood. So Ironwood would have to stay at a distance. With his gravity bullets, he would be able to maneuver around quite well. Not to mention they also have Penny on their team, which gives them air superiority, and that just gives them one heck of an advantage. And then there's, of course, Sienna Khan, and if she paired off against Winter Schnee, for example, that could create an interesting fight in and of itself. As if Sienna was able to destroy some of Winter's summons, for example, that would reduce Winter's aura, Sienna would become stronger, and even if her allies started to become weaker, like if Kali had her aura broken, if Sienna just stayed close to Kali, her power would be increased as well, to the point where I think Sienna could overpower Winter and be a clinching member of Team Ashbury. And the more the rest of her team got beaten down, the more powerful Sienna would get and be able to deal some blows against Team Esprit. As I said, possibly be able to take out Winter. Yes, Winter is very skilled, a highly ranking member of the Atlas military, but Sienna, with her chain whip, might be able to even pull Penny out of the sky if she's not expecting it, launch one of the blades up at Penny, dealing an elemental damage against her, so there is some fighting against Penny, even though Penny does have the air, as well as the numerous blades and the lasers along with it. I think Sienna would be a good match for a lot of these different characters. Overall, Team Esprit does have just a massive amount of experience over Team Ashbury. Again, won't be an easy fight for Team Esprit, but they would end up winning over Team Ashbury. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below and through the voting on who you think would win between these two pairs of teams, between Team RWBY and Team Sun, and Team Ashbury and Team Esprit. I look forward to seeing how all of these matches will go in the future and what all of you guys think by the end of the week, and we'll see how round one turns out. Make sure you guys go and vote using the links in the description, and if you are enjoying the Phoenix Festival tournament thus far, want to keep up with it and see how each of the rounds is turning out, make sure to subscribe and keep up to date with all of the other RWBY content that we'll be releasing alongside it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. Tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, join our Discord server, link in the description below as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.